Of course, as long as it doesn't get in the way of everyone else being a good consumer. Right? I mean, think about it. I don't think it's inaccurate to describe this as a consumer society, a materialistic society. I think that's exactly accurate. And we're all roped into it, you know. I notice there's a nice iPhone here. Yeah? Forget the iPhone. Give me my HTC HD. I don't even know what it's called. HTC HD. Yeah? Is it in here? Here is the HTC HD. Alright? This, unfortunately, is the old HTC HD. And now they have the HTC HD2. And you know what? How can I feel a complete person now that I have the old model? Right? I can't. My life is lacking. The HTC HD2 is slimmer, it's faster, it's cooler, it's prettier, it's got more megapixel camera, and you know what? It's got a really neat feature. I have to say, this is a really neat feature. Not on this one. I just can't wait till I change it and I get the new one. Because the HTC, and I'm not paid by HTC by the way, okay? The HTC HD2 has a really neat feature. You can use the phone as a wireless router. How cool is that? That is cool. You see? You want it now, don't you? I want it. I'm supposed to be the spiritual guy, right? Okay? You know? Yeah, consumer guru, yeah? But you think about this, how they create this want in us. But in reality, don't you think that this want, doesn't it have a consequence? Actually, quite a negative consequence. Number one, by the way, notice you will never be satisfied. There is never an end to your wants. There is never an end to your desires. Whatever you have, whatever you get, you will want something more. Whatever type of junkie you are, whether you smoke weed, there's only an amount of time before you have to smoke more and more and more to get the high that you used to get in the beginning. And even then it doesn't work. So usually most people move on to something stronger to try and get that feeling of the high that they had before. It's the same with sex. Right? When people start, getting obsessed with it, that becomes their drug. They just go to more and more weird stuff. It's the same with adrenaline. You hear about adrenaline junkies, right? You have to do something more and more extreme, more and more crazy. It's all part of this drug. Holidays, cars, whatever. You just have to keep moving up the scale. And you never get satisfied. That's the problem. It's a bottomless pit. Number one problem. Number two is waste. The amount of waste it generates is astronomical. You see, they tell us that we should all live the American dream. Yeah? I mean, they're ready to invade countries to export their freedom. Yeah? The American dream. The problem with the American dream is this. There's just not enough resources on the planet. For every single human being on this planet to live like the average American, we would need 3.5 planets. We would need the resources of 3.5 planets. There simply aren't enough resources on this planet for every human being to live the American dream. 70% of the world's resources are consumed by 17% of its population. 70% of the world's resources are consumed by 17% of its population. And where do you think that 17% is concentrated? Who are the greatest consumers on the planet? Right? We're seeing the consequence of it. Now China is following, and it's not only an economic model, it's an economic model, but it's a model of consumerism. It's a model of consumerism. We had this unprecedented economic crisis, the worst economic crisis since the 1930s. A crisis that was largely brought about through debt. Various types of debt, but largely brought about through debt. And what was the solution? We've been told the solution is
Spend more.
yeah, spend more. If you want to get out of recession, spend more, buy more, go out and buy more things. We've got no money, but you know, the problem is now the banks aren't lending money. Well, they haven't got any money to lend, except they took the money from us, the taxpayer, so that we could borrow money from them and then pay them to borrow the money that's actually our money in the first place. I mean, how stupid is that? I mean, most people in this country spend what? Their lives paying off a mortgage, which probably consists of 50 to 60, maybe even 70 or 80% of their income. Right? And most of that is not for the lump sum, it's for the interest. The interest on that lump sum. That's what we do. Now, this is my analogy. What's happened right now with the taxpayer bailing out the banks, it's a bit like this. Imagine the slave is beaten by the slave master. Beaten so hard and so bad that the stick breaks. Yeah? And then the slave master says, "You stupid slave, you're going to have to pay for that stick." Right? That's what we've done. The banks are beating us, exploiting us. It's like feudalism all over again. The stick breaks and then we have to pay for it. It's just madness. But it's all part of the consumer. It's the economic model. Their economic model of consumerism. That's what it's all based upon. But it's a model that is destroying our planet. It's a model that, by the way, is destroying our societies. Because why? In reality, you will find that this lifestyle is fundamentally unsatisfying. Most people reach a stage in their life. They follow the dream. They go for it. They work hard. They make their money. And then they get to whatever it is, 35, 40, and they just realize that they've got empty lives. Their lives are empty. Yes, they smile and they laugh and they dance and they drink and all the rest of it and they, watch TV but think about it. In reality, most people are spending most of their free time trying to escape reality. That's what they do. What is the TV about? What are movies about? What are computer games about? Escapism. Why do people get drunk? You probably experienced that here at university, right? There you are, innocent little Muslim. There you are in your flat, just come to university. So what happens, first night there, maybe second night or something like that, one of your flatmates comes home, non-Muslim, yeah? And totally drunk, pukes up in the middle of the floor and falls asleep in a pool of their own sick. They wake up the next morning and say, "Oh, I had a good time last night." What? You had a good time last night? Yeah. So what did you do? Don't remember. That's why I had a good time. In fact, you know what? The less I remember, the better time I had. And look at the words that describe, this state of intoxication. I was stoned. What is a stone? What is a stone? Huh? Stone something actually you don't have to feel bad hitting a stone, right? So don't hit me, right? A stone is inanimate. It has no soul, no feelings, no life, nothing. I was stoned. I was wasted. I was out of it. I was high. Yeah? Look at the words.